Yes.
Third base coaching box. Yes, my guy. How you doing? Good. How are you?
We'll have the meeting come to order, Worthington City Council regular meeting, 5:30 PM Tuesday, May 28th, 2024, City Hall Council Chambers. We can have everybody rise, say the pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Well, welcome everybody. We don't have any different additions. We do have a change in our agenda from engineering is going to be moved to in front of the administration. So with that, I need a motion.
Move to approve the agenda with change.
Okay, we have a motion and seconded. Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carried. On to the consent agenda. We've got city council meetings, May 13th, 2024, special city council meeting minutes of April 24th, 2024. We have minutes for the boards and commissions. They were from May 20th, 24, Water and Light Commission, Cross-Cultural Advisory Committee, meeting minutes of May 21st, 2024, Worthington Public Arts Commission, meeting minutes of May 14th, 2024, LEC Joint Powers meeting minutes, May 8th of 2024, Water and Light Commission meeting minutes of May 6th, 2024, Bear Lake Watershed Board of Directors minutes of April 17th, 2024. Also, case items, application of block streets, Independent School District 518, 2024-2025 on-sale liquor, wine club, and Sunday on-sale license renewals. Financial statements, municipal liquor store income statement for the period of January 1st, 2024 through April 30th, 2024. Fieldhouse statement of revenue and expenditures, budget and actual for the period of January 1st, 2024 through April 30th, 2024. Olson Park statement of revenue and expenditures, budget and actual for the period of January 1st, 2024 through April 30th, 2024. And bill statement.
Move to approve consent agenda.
Motion
Second.
and seconded. Any further discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign, motion carried. On to engineering.
Hello. First item, approve task order 28 with Bolton and Meg to provide preparation of land surveying and land acquisition service. Task order 28 Exhibit 1 provides preparation for land surveying and land acquisition for the upcoming project on Flower Lane and Ray Drive. Flower Lane right away from 1st Avenue Southwest to South Shore Drive does not completely connect through. A section is private property primarily owned by the condominium association on the north end. Full title searches and numerous properties on Flower Lane are recommended to provide a full detail of the title and the area. This would include previous roadway easements or dedications that may exist. There are 10 properties in the vicinity of Flower Lane. Additionally, the reconstruction of State Highway 59, North Humiston Avenue, will be done in 2027. The recent changes in land use and the planned improvements to the State Highway will impact the use of function of the existing frontage road to better facilitate safety and efficient access to the businesses and the highway. The extension of Ray Drive north of Bryans Road and then east to State Highway 59 is being proposed. Task order is not to exceed a total of $15,000, allocated as $2,500 for Ray Drive and $12,500 for Flower Lane without prior approval from the council. This amount does not include the cost of the properties that need to be purchased. Staff recommends the approval of task order number 28.
Questions?
These are the two areas that we talked about in the special meeting.
I would move to approve task order number 28.
Second. Okay, we have a motion and seconded. in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carried.
Thanks, Coop. First administration case item is the second reading of the ordinance to allow for motorized golf carts operation on city streets with the issuance of a permit. One copy of the ordinance was provided in the May 13th council agenda. Council action is requested to give a second reading to the proposed ordinance. And for council's information, we've had no feedback or response following the first reading.
Move second reading.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and seconded. Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carried.
Next item is the JBS Fieldhouse Facility Use Agreement with Minnesota West Community and Technical College. City administration and representatives of Minnesota West Community and Technical College have been in discussions for a number of months regarding the establishment of a long-term arrangement for the shared use of the JBS Fieldhouse as an enhanced training facility for their athletic and law enforcement programs. Under the terms of the agreement, which was included as Exhibit 2, Minnesota West agrees to pay the city a one-time fee of $200,000 on or before June 30th of this year to be dedicated to future facility improvements, including the replacement of the artificial turf, wall and column protection padding, and netting at the ends of their useful lives, which is estimated to be 8 to 10 years. These funds will be placed in the city's equipment revolving schedule designated for the Fieldhouse account. In addition, the city will provide exterior backlit signage on the facility with logos of the Minnesota West Blue Jay branding. For the use of the space, Minnesota West also agrees to pay an annual fee of $3,500 beginning on July 1, 2024 and running through June 30th of 2039. This is an exciting collaboration between the city and Minnesota West and furthers the mission of JBS Fieldhouse to offer athletic, recreation, and training opportunities for our local organizations and schools. Council action is requested to adopt a resolution that was included as Exhibit 3, accepting the donation from Minnesota West and authorize execution of the agreement by the mayor and the clerk. And with us tonight is Terry Galswick, president of Minnesota West Community and Technical College, and I invite Terry to come forward and offer any information or commentary you may have. Thank you.
Council, thank you, and thank you for the opportunity to speak briefly on this subject. I'll just share with you that with consideration of this facility, it will take Blue Jay Athletics and Lady Jay Athletics to a new level, a level that will allow us to provide opportunity in the winter months here in Minnesota for a number of our ball teams, and as well advance opportunity for our public peace officer training program, which is at capacity in here in Worthington. I'll share with you that this conversation, I think, builds off of the city's commitment to Minnesota West, and we've seen that present in the Blue Jay Villas, and we've seen that present in the connection of many members of the community relative to our college campus. So we're excited about this opportunity. We see it as an enhancement, and I know that our athletic coordinators and coaches are excited about the potential for this collaboration. So thank you.
Amy?
Is there a set amount of time that the Minnesota West gets to use it, or are they just gonna schedule in around everybody else, or what does that look like?
We will schedule them in and around the other school opportunities. Schedule. The busy time will be spring sports, when the weather is not allowing us to get outside. The Minnesota West baseball team has been practicing actually the last 2 seasons. It will require everyone to be flexible and accommodate each other, but I have no concerns that we won't be able to accommodate everybody at reasonable times, and we just may have to practice either earlier or later in the late afternoon or early evening.
Were there any conflicts this past spring?
None at all. I mean, we accommodated baseball, softball, and golf at the high school level, generally going from 3 o'clock until 7 o'clock, and it will just require motivation and maybe organization by the coaches. And I know that the football coach at Minnesota West is very excited about having the opportunity to use this. We will make it work so that it is fair and accommodates all of the athletic programs.
The $200,000 is a nice
It's
contribution to the upkeep of the facility. Do you know off the top of your head, like, how much artificial turf would cost to replace?
we anticipate that everything that's spelled out there will cost in excess of $200,000. But what this allows the city is, rather than us levying for the replacement in a 10-year period, we'll be levying for a fraction of that cost. So it will greatly enhance our budget and reduce our levy. And we've set up a meeting for tomorrow with one of the sign companies to start looking at mock-ups for signage on the building. And Minnesota West has their Blue Jay logo that will be incorporated in that, and along with the Minnesota West Athletics. So we'll come up with a couple of ideas that.
Do we have an approximate cost of what would that?
No, at this point I do not.
No
But
speculation about.
I am planning to take that cost out of the capital improvement budget that Minnesota West is putting forward. It may be upwards of in the neighborhood of $10,000, but at this point I don't know what the cost would be.
Okay, that'd be, I mean, yeah, 'cause
Yeah, I mean, we
maybe we're 3 years of fees for, or to pay for a sign.
yeah, well, opportunities come with a cost too.
Right, right. I do have a question about, and concern about not looking at the 15-year term of the $3,500 per year for the duration of the 15 years. It'd be I think we should have the opportunity to revisit that more frequently than the 15 years.
That budget, and Mr. Galswick, please correct me if I misstate this, that was based on predetermined funds that Minnesota West has available to them, and which was $50,000 is what they have that they can allocate towards leasing a space. So that's how it arrived at the $3,500. Much of this was designed around state funding allocation and restrictions that Minnesota West and the state college system has placed on funding that Minnesota West has. And we worked this agreement around what would accommodate their ability to be able to help fund the facility. Knowing that up to this point, Minnesota West has not paid anything for the use, nor has the Worthington School District. So we see this as a bonus that we are being able to, that Minnesota West has stepped forward and offered to pay for the usage that really will be most present during the 6 to 8 weeks of the late winter, early spring. The law enforcement program, when they use it, it's going to be during generally regular school hours where there is very minimal activity going on in the field house.
I would make a motion to adopt the resolution and authorize execution of the agreement by the mayor and clerk.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carried.
Thank you, colleagues. Thanks, Steve.
Next item is revisiting the event center utilities and royalty payments. In April 2020, City Council approved suspending the collection of the 10% gross sales royalty fee from the event center operator, and that the city would pay all event center utility expenses due to mandated closures imposed by Governor Walz and the state of Minnesota. Since that time, and this goes back to the end of 2023, city has paid $116,128.53 in utility expenses, while last collecting management fees in December of 2019. Management fees collected in 2019 were $23,115.61. According to profit and loss statements that were shared with staff for that period of 2020 through 2023, the event center operators posted an average annual loss of $47,238 despite the city's financial support. It's also indicated that they likely would terminate their agreement with the city if the financial support did not continue. So at this point, we need to make a decision. We're either going to continue with financial support or indicate to them that we will not, at which point they have to make a decision if they want to continue operating the event center.
Do they have a spreadsheet like we get from the event, or the Memorial Auditorium or the liquor store?
Yes, and trusting that their numbers are truthful and accurate, I have reviewed, 4 and 5 year
Sure.
financials from them.
Have they ever showed a profit since it's been open?
Not really.
So is it the lack of people using it?
I think they have wedding season is busy for them. Much of the rest of the year is modestly used, and they have really very few midweek convention or conference events, so most of their revenue derives around the wedding season, which is, spring through fall. And then several of the big events like the YMCA Cruise Dinner, Pheasant Forever, Hospice Cottage. I think those several events
Yeah.
are very big.
I think the event center is a positive amenity for the city of Worthington. It's nice to have a place to have weddings and to have the big events, the cruise dinners, the hospice cottage, all those bigger things. Could they, and I don't know what they do, it's not my area of expertise, but could they be more aggressive on getting more business to be there in the off-season, during the week?
Yes, that has been part of our conversation. They did have some local management disruption here. They now have a new manager on site, and we'll see if that turns this around. But I think if council is of a mind to continue us subsidizing them, it should be for a set period of time that would be revisited maybe at the end of the year or something, but I think we have to decide what our expectations are, and if we decide that it should be managed by us locally here.
So does it kind of coincide with people staying at, if they get some lull in the,
I don't know how beneficial it is to their hotel stays, because often their main business wedding receptions are very local, and probably a handful of rooms are used.
I can agree with Amy. I don't think it's been publicized or promoted very much since its existence. I think a lot of people want to know it's available.
And I know of someone that is going to have an event there and had to call multiple times to get answers for questions. I don't think the city should, in perpetuity, cover their expenses if they're not willing to work a little harder. I don't wanna see it shut down today, but we definitely, I would suggest that we put a timeline on it and review it. I don't know, what do you think, a year, 2 years,
Well, I would
Look
go
at it
through the end of this year.
and look at it again? See if they've upped their, cause there's no incentive to work harder if we continue to pay utility expenses.
I agree.
That's why
If we
I
could
think
break
we
even,
make
that would
it
be-
short term so that we get a little more effort to.
Yeah, okay. I would suggest, I would move that we continue to pay their utilities through the end of 2024 and then review their balance sheet.
I agree. Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion carried.
All right, next item, we have to do a limited site investigation on the former Lakeshore Conoco site. City of Worthington acquired the former Lakeshore Conoco in January of 2023. Demolition and cleanup of the blighted property was undertaken in the late summer of '23, which included the removal and disposal of an existing small underground heating oil tank. Samples of the soil under the tank were obtained and submitted for laboratory testing. Trace amounts of contaminants were detected in the soil, prompting the MPCA to order further evaluation of the site. So staff solicited proposals from consulting firms, which was required under the Petro Fund reimbursement program, to perform a limited site investigation, including collecting and analyzing soil samples to identify the extent and magnitude of potential risk. Staff recommends retaining Braun Intertech as the city's consultant for an estimated fee of $20,410. Braun Intertech is the firm that has been involved with the Campbell Soup property for the last 10 or 15 years and worked hand in hand with us on the Fieldhouse project as we had some pollution remediation that was required with that project. Looking at the proposal, once again, this is our friends at the state of Minnesota. The requirements to do a very simple evaluation have grown more and more complex. Something that used to be several $1,000s is now in the neighborhood of $20,000. We had two proposals. One was at $20,000, one was at $21,000. So
What's the Petrol Fund reimbursement program?
Petro Fund is a fund that was set up back in the either late 80s or early 90s that was established to encourage former fuel stations primarily to perform evaluation and cleanup of those sites, in which the cleanup owner, the responsible party, can receive up to 90% reimbursement for eligible expenditures on that. So that's why we're going through this process to make sure that we remain eligible for consideration of reimbursement. So if,
That's only if there's mitigation
I,
necessary.
the Petro, I used to be involved with this many years ago. And of course, everything has changed in the last 20 years. But the Petro Fund would, at that time, pay for these site investigations also. I'm not going to unequivocally say that those costs are eligible, but they were at one time.
So there's potential.
There's potential, yes.
Limited potential.
Well,
So what does 20 grand get us? Do they bore holes and take a look at samples
Yes.
at different depths?
yes, they will do a number of probes. Instead of doing these full-blown soil borings, they probe with like a 1 or 1.5 inch diameter auger or tube, and get samples at various depths and various locations. The main idea is you want to try and identify the perimeter of the contamination. And really, since any sources of contamination have long been removed, and it's You know, in my opinion, this is a minimal issue compared to the very extensive contamination that's farther up the hill between the field house and the fire station that is, has such degree of heavy metal contamination that we're not allowed to do anything with it, to even touch it. And if you look closely up there, you'll see some remnants of concrete paving that's about halfway up the hill. That is there to protect that heavily contaminated area that was at one time a coal gasification production facility. So when the city was fortunate to acquire the Campbell Soup property, we got all of the wards with it too.
How did MPCA detect, is that something that's on, did they do some detections?
No, we did it ourselves. As part of the protocol, when the tank was removed, we had to take a limited number of soil samples from underneath where the tank was and then analyze it. And contaminants were detected that were not fuel related, which is typical of that entire area, that there were between the railroad and the different industries that were there and the coal gasification. There are a host of contaminant materials in that entire area. So I didn't agree with the MPCA's determination that further work needed to be done, but that was their decision.
And PCA though, a few years ago, started going back, looking at dealers or petroleum fertilizer plants, way back, they were closed 20, 25 years ago.
Yeah.
And started to retest that site.
Yeah, I think we were looking at, we were brought in to gather information on the former fertilizer plant that was over down here at the old,
It was hard to remember exactly where it sat so they could take their stuff.
yeah. Things must be running slow in
Okay.
some of the offices up there.
I'll move to retain Brian Intertech for the estimated fee of $20,410.
Okay, we have a motion.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carried.
All right, final case item is the call for a public hearing. Portions of Highway 59 reconstruction and jurisdictional transfer. MnDOT is proceeding with plans for the reconstruction of Highway 59 from approximately half mile north of Interstate 90 to Highway 60 in Worthington. Projects include safety improvements at several intersections, grading, pavement, storm sewer, sanitary sewer, water main replacement, lighting, and sidewalk. The section of Highway 59 just south of Interstate 90 to Highway 60 will be a jurisdictional transfer or a turn back to the city of Worthington upon the completion of the construction. As part of this, a public hearing needs to be held. Representatives of MnDOT would attend this public hearing and present the final layout, answer questions as required by state statute. Council action is requested to call for the public hearing that would be held on July 8th, 2024 at 5:30 p.m. here in the council chambers.
I would move to call for a public hearing.
Second.
We have a motion and seconded. Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carried. Okay. Other than that, we're left is the council committee reports. Only thing I have is I went to a Ethiopian Orthodox church service for a couple hours on Sunday. It sounds like they've been going from 6 a.m. to 12:30, so it's a long, actually they got started about 2 a.m. in the morning, so whether that had to do with cooking or, so it was interesting anyways, to say the least, but, and it was kind of, even seeing a couple familiar faces there and stuff too, so it made it a little bit easier. Didn't understand what they were singing, chanting, or anything like that, but, and I spoke a few things anyways, you know, and I told them that I knew a couple of you there, but I'm not about to try and say their name anyways, but, other than that, I know working on, this fall, we were gonna work on, kind of showcasing, Worthington a little bit to have a Minnesota Mayor's Association meeting here, with the, elections and stuff coming up. They've kind of tabled that to probably something in the fall, or, excuse me, in the spring or summer of next year anyway, but have mayors come down and have a, afternoon meetings at the event center and, possibly stay overnight and then, try and see if we can get a tour, with, business in town, whether JBS or Bakers or, Wilmer. We actually, everybody jumped on a bus and we toured around their city and stuff too, seeing what they all had to offer anyways, so. Work in progress that way, so that's all I have.
I don't have anything.
I went to a Water and Light Commission meeting and a CCAC meeting, both the minutes are in the packet.
No report.
No report.
All right, the only thing I have to report is I forwarded everyone an email to register for the Coalition of Greater Minnesota Cities Regional Meeting. It will be held here in Worthington on July 10th from 5 to 6:30 at the event center. If you had a chance to read through it, you'll see that the coalition has decided that trying to have individual meetings at every city is becoming more and more difficult as their membership grows. They are going to try this regional concept, and they reached out to us wanting to hold this region here in Worthington, and I lined them up with the event center to make those accommodations, and I think everything is in place, and a meal will be served at that. It'll be, so I forwarded that email to everyone on council and department heads that, so you can register yourself if you have the ability to go. That's all I have.
Okay.
I have a question. Are they charging us rent for the facility?
They'll be charging the coalition.
Okay, gotcha. Thank you.
Yeah.
Motion to adjourn.
Move to, adjourn.
Okay, got a motion, and a second, okay. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Those same sign, motion carried. Thank you.
Except when,